Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today we are joined by Indulekha Mataji, all the way from Canada. So Indulekha Mataji has been in Krishna consciousness for over 25 years now, and she's taken shelter of Krishna Das Swami, and you probably know her from these weekly classes. She joins every week and always shares such beautiful knowledge. So thank you so much for joining us today, and over to you. Mataji, you're on mute.
Because of my garage door again, I mute myself. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for joining, everyone. So before we start, I will welcome everyone. And before we start, let's pay tribute to Maharaj, who left his body. So here I have put a verse from Bhagavad Gita, and this verse explains that we are not this body, we are the soul. And then when we leave this body, we should not be lamenting. And it goes, Nainam chindanti sastrani, nainam dahati pavaka, na chainam klidantiapo, na sosyati maruta. So meaning is the soul cannot be cut into pieces by any weapon, no be burned by fire, no moistened by water, no withered by the wind. So it is very beautiful. And also I would like to say a few lines on Maharaj, not on Maharaj, for Maharaj. So here also I got this quotation that he reasons ill who tells that Vaishnava die when thou art living still in sound. So that is Maharaj himself. And also I would like to read these two lines. So, dear Maharaj, death is just another part of the beautiful journey. Your life is an example that will live for beyond your days on this earth to guide us, to guide the way for those left behind. We appreciate the kindness you launch on us. Hare Krishna. So dear devotee, please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you for joining and for giving me this opportunity to purify my speech. I'm not a great scholar, and I will give a simple talk, but I'll make sure that the devotees present here understand what I'm talking about. I will not go in deep philosophy, and I'll try to pass on the message as it is in Srimad Bhagavatam and according to my knowledge. So please kindly stop me and correct me wherever I'm wrong. Okay, so let's see. Okay. So I will start with these two sets of recitation before starting, because I like to recite these verses, because we have this is by Sanatana Goswami. We have two sets of verses. This is this one and the other one that we usually recite before starting the Bhagavatam, because these verses, they glorify the book, the book Bhagavata, and these other three verses, they glorify the person Bhagavata. We have book Bhagavata and person Bhagavata. So I like to recite this whenever I start any class, so please bear with me. And I would like to get a volunteer to recite the English. Okay. So this is from Srimad Bhagavatam Mahima Stotram from Shri Krishna Lila Stava, verses 4.12 to 4.16 by Srila Sanatana Goswami. Sarva Saktra Piyusha Sarva Vedeka Satphala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnadhya Sarva Lokeka Drikprada Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu Kali Dvantu Dita Ditya Shri Krishna Parivartita Paramananda Pataya Prema Varsharak Saraksate Sarvada Sarva Sevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namastume Madeka Bandhu Mad Sangin Mad Guru Mad Mahadhana Mad Nistaraka Mad Bhagya Mad Ananda Namastute Sadhu Sadhuta Dain Ati Nicho Chatakara Hana Muncha Kadachin Mam Premna Hrit Kantayo Spuraha. So I will, anyone to read the translation, please?
O Srimad Bhagavatam Mahima Stotram translation. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mataji. Rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Secondly, O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Thirdly, I bow down to you who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prem. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Fourthly, my only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Fifthly, O bestower of saintliness, to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. I know when you have a toddler how it is. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So we will go, we'll continue now with the free verses from the Bhagavatam that we read before reciting the Bhagavatam usually. So it's Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatam aham bande paramananda madhavam narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye nashtaprayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavate sevaya bhagavati uttam slokir bhaktir bhavati naistike. Someone else to read, please. Translation.
Hare Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has the form of the Satchitananda Vigraha, transcendental bliss, knowledge and eternity. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him who turns the dumb into the eloquent speakers and enables the lame to cross mountains. Such is the mercy of the Lord. Number 2, before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Number 3, by regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of the services to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. So now I will go with this invocation prayer. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadhati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaisnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Ragunatam Vitamtam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakam Vishamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpati Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishubhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhavevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I am requested to talk on the Srimad Bhagavatam chapter Canto 1 chapter 15 entitled The Pandava Retires Timely. So this chapter has 51 verses, And we all know that it is not easy to go through all the verses properly in one class. So let alone one verse, a whole class can be given on one word from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And I'll be happy to do that one day. And so now the Pandavas, they are living. So the Pandavas are great souls. As we know, they are very great souls. And so they decided to leave. But in this material world, when we ask some people, oh, you're going to retire, what are you going to do? And they will tell you, oh, we'll try something new. They are always like, people are always being on the mode of ignorance. We always want to try new things in life and experience new things in life. But Srila Prabhupada here, he stressed that after the age of 50, so one should get detached from family life and take vanaprastha, meaning going to the forest. But here, Srila Prabhupada stressed on going to Vrindavan, where we can do a devotional service, and we can gradually give responsibility to younger members of the family who are responsible enough. And then we must try to get out of the entanglement of family life. That is what Srila Prabhupada said. So before going further, so let us have a look at chapter 14. So just to have an idea prior to this chapter, what has happened. So we see that King Yudhishthira, he has sent Arjuna to see, to find out about the further plan of Lord Shri Krishna. So time passed, but Arjuna didn't return. And Yudhishthira Maharaj, he is observing bad omen in his kingdom. And then he's talking to his younger brother, Bhima. And he is like, he's concerned. So he is talking and he's thinking that also we see in chapter 14 that when he was lamenting, when his both his uncles, Dhritarashtra and Vidura, left home, and Gandhari also, and he was lamenting, then Narad Muni visited him. Narad Muni told him that the Pandavas, you are the Pandavas, you are the eternal associate of Lord Krishna. And when Lord Krishna leaves this material world, there is no need for you to stay here for longer. But he did not mention that the Lord has already left for his abode. And Yudhishthira is remembering also that when his uncle Vidura was present there, he asked Vidura, did you meet Lord Krishna during your pilgrimage? And Vidura, he also did not, he avoided that question. He did not reply. So nobody wanted to tell. But Yudhishthira, he was pondering on all the auspicious signs on the earth. And then he was thinking, then just that time, we see that Arjuna returned. And then Arjuna returned, and then we see that Arjuna is very morose. He is dejected. He looks dejected. And when Yudhishthira asking 100 questions, Yudhishthira was asking about all the relatives in Dwarka, about the Vrishnis, and about Arjuna himself, about his journey, about how about his well-being, but not getting an answer. King Yudhishthira, he prompted Arjuna to talk. He asked Arjuna, have you lost your intimate friends? Because that was the only reason why Arjuna would be so dejected. So here we see that King Yudhishthira, he knew that the Lord has already left for his abode, but his heart did not want to accept it. He just wanted to hear it. The heart thinks that, okay, it's not fair that the Lord, our beloved Lord, has leave us. So he wanted to hear it properly from a proper source, which was from Arjuna himself. And here we see that when he heard that, then chapter 15 will start with a narration. Chapter 15 will start with, this is Arjuna being dejected. When chapter 15 here will begin with a narration of Sutta Goswami. At the Naimisharanya, he is with 84,000 sages narrating this Bhagavatam. And here Sutta Goswami is saying that he is telling about Arjuna. He's narrating what has happened. So we will see in this, one second, please. Yes, we will see in this Bhagavatam, there are layers and layers of conversation into conversation. So here, Sutta Goswami, he heard Srimad Bhagavatam when Sukha Goswami was telling it to Parikshit Maharaj. Then he heard it. Then now he is relating to these sages Atnami Saranya. So all across Srimad Bhagavatam, it will come conversation into conversation. First, we will see Lord Brahma is imparting this knowledge to, first he got the knowledge from Lord Vishnu, Mahavishnu, then he imparted that knowledge to Narada, and then Narada will impart it, he imparted Brahma, Brahma will impart to Narada, and then it goes down like this, and Narada will impart to Vyasdev, and Vyasdev will tell it to his son, Sukdev Goswami, and then when Sukdev Goswami is narrating, Sutta Goswami is there, and Sutta Goswami will hear it. So also we know that later on we will see, in Bhagavatam later on we will see that Maitreya Muni will be narrating to Vidur. And then we will see before that, Lord Shiva narrated to Parvati, Mother Parvati. And then Mother Parvati asked Lord Shiva, what is the biggest service that one can render? So Lord Shiva replied that to serve the devotees of the Lord is a biggest service that we can do. When we say das anudas, meaning that we are the servant of the Lord. So it is it doesn't matter what kind of service we are doing, whether is being Vapu service or Vani service. Vapu service is like serving directly. When great devotee is here, we go and serve directly. And Vani service is as good as well, because we read about their life, we discuss about the life of the great devotees, and we read about their scriptures that they have left behind. And also, we know that the path to devotion is to listen to the pastime of the great devotees. So here now we are going to discuss about the Pandavas, mainly about Arjuna, and this is also called Bhakti or Vapuseva. So whoever is listening tonight here about this pure devotee will certainly benefit. Right? So throughout chapter 15, we see Arjuna is lamenting due to grief of separation from Lord Krishna. And he also, we say, Canto 1, chapter 15, text 2 is stating that due to grief, Arjuna's mouth and lotus-like heart had dried up. Therefore, his body lost all luster. Now, remembering the Supreme Lord, he could hardly utter a word in reply. He could not talk at all. He was like shocked that the Lord has left him. So Arjuna is remembering all the favors that the Lord bestowed upon him. How powerful he was due to the mercy of the Lord. Even the demigods, they were astonished that now that Lord Shri Krishna has left him, he is bereft of all the astounding powers. So he even thinks that he has been cheated by the Lord. He even said that. He thinks that he has been cheated by the Lord. So if such a great devotee like Arjuna can be deprived of the power, then what we talk about us? So to speak the really ordinary living being, so anytime we can lose our power as well. So Srila Prabhupada gives us a great lesson in the purport of text 5 of this chapter. He said that we should utilize any small power we have in the service of the Lord, as such powers can be withdrawn by the Lord at any time. So I will ask a question now, please unmute and try to give an answer. So why did the Lord withdraw all his powers from Arjuna? A guess, please.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So
Hare
Arjuna was like Paramahamsa. He was a highly realized soul, but just to teach us, because there's no reason to teach us. So this would be a reason. He showed an example of being bewildered, so Krishna could give a teaching through him, so we could all benefit.
Yes, Mataji. And there's another reply also for this question, is that if Lord Shri Krishna hasn't withdrawn the powers from Arjuna, Arjuna would be still living around. He would still be thinking that, yes, he's powerful. He would not leave this material world to go to Krishna. That's why Krishna take the power from his devotee, so that we become bereft of this of the power, and then we become we seek shelter at his lotus feet. So that's what we will be seeing. So and you know, once what happened, Srila Prabhupada with his disciple, they were bathing in the Yamuna, and Srila Prabhupada asked the disciple, what is the benefit of bathing in Ganga? So they said that when you take a bath in Ganga, all your sins are eradicated or taken away, right? All your bad karmas are taken away. And then Srila Prabhupada said, what happens if you are bathing in Yamuna? Then they didn't know, nobody answered. Then Srila Prabhupada said, you know what happened? All your good karmas are being taken away now. So all the devotees got shocked, and they were thinking, how come we are bathing in Ganga, all our bad karma going, now here good karma. So Srila Prabhupada explained that if we have our good karma, we will come back, we will have to come back to reap the good karmas. So if both good and bad karmas are gone, we are not coming back. So we should not be like thinking, yeah, we have to come back. We don't have to come back. So, so one by one, Arjuna is recollecting all his good fortune. So he's overwhelmed and he's breathing heavily only by thinking about the relationship with Krishna. Sorry, please excuse me because of, I hope it doesn't come again, this noise. Okay, so here we see he's thinking about his relationship with Krishna, and Krishna was his chariot driver to protect him from the risk on the battlefield. And also he's thinking about when he went to the Swayamvara of Draupadi. So Krishna's dealing with Arjuna was most perfect, because actually it was Krishna who arranged the marriage of Subhadra to his younger sister Subhadra to Arjuna. And he also recalls how he won the contest during the Swayamvara of Draupadi, and he gave credit to Krishna, because he said only by the merciful and strength of Krishna that he was able to defeat, to vanquish all those princes in the arena of the wedding of Draupadi. So Arjuna feels that his body was without life, because for a devotee there is no one dearer than Krishna. And he remembers that once he had to fight the powerful king Indra of heaven, and Indra, along with his demigod devotees, he had to fight because he had to. Can somebody mute, please, because it's making noise. I can hear some noise. Yes, so here we see that Arjuna had to fight the demigods and Indra because he had to save a demon by the name Maya Danava. And thus this Maya Danava, he had great power, and thus he built assembly palace for the Pandavas, and all these princes, they came and paid a tribute to Yudhishthira, because they saw that the great power of the Pandavas, so nobody could go against them. So being a great devotee, Arjuna could not resist from helping Maya Danav, because even the Lord forgives when someone takes shelter of his lotus feet, and Arjuna followed his example. Later on, we will see how Parikshit Maharaj will forgive Kali when Kali will fall at his feet and ask for forgiveness for hitting Dharma in the form of a bull. So Arjuna doesn't only recall about his conquest, he also remembers how the Lord helped Bhimsena and to kill the powerful king Jarasandha. So Jarasandha was a son of King Brihadrata, and here we see that this king, he had 2 wives but no children. So he prayed to a sage, and then the sage gave him a fruit and asked him to give that to his wife. And but what he did, he cut the fruit into 2 and gave half to both of them, each of them. And when they gave birth, each of them gave birth of half of the child. So the king got so scared, and he asked his soldier to throw both pieces in the forest. And these 2 pieces were picked up by a demoness by the name Jara. And what did he do? What did she do? She took it to the king because she knew that the king was childless. And then she put both pieces together, and Jarasandha was born. So Jarasandha's name is Jara from the demoness, and Sandhi means to connect. So she connected the both pieces, and Jarasan became very, very powerful. And in this way, he was terrorizing everyone. He had so many kings that he had kept for Bali to give to Bhairava as sacrifice. So then, accompanied by Arjuna and Bhima, the Lord took them to Jarasan and challenged Jarasan. But here he was so strong that Bhimsen was getting tired. Then the Lord said, when you tear his body into two, you have to throw the parts in different direction. So the left part should go on the right side, and the right side should go on the left part, on the left side. So in this way, Jarasan was killed. So Arjuna, and again, Arjuna he's just telling all this how merciful Lord Shri Krishna has been toward them. So once when the Pandavas were in the forest, so we know Durvasa Muni, he is anger personified. And Duryodhan, who was very envious of the Pandavas, even though the Pandavas were in the forest, they wanted to keep giving them trouble. So they sent Durvasa Muni to see the Pandavas in the forest, and they told Durvasa Muni to go in the evening when Draupadi has already taken her meal, because Duryodhan knew that the Akshay Patra is a pot, it's a magic pot that King Yudhishthir got from the sun god. That pot will not produce any food once Draupadi has taken her meal and washed the pot. So when eventually Durvasa Muni went there, and the Pandavas were very scared, because it was late and they have already washed the pot and put away. So what happened is, we see here Krishna appeared. Draupadi called Krishna, and Krishna appeared, and Krishna said he is very hungry, and Draupadi said we are very scared. Durvasa Muni will come here soon, and we don't have anything. So Krishna said, show me the pot, and he found a tiny particle, and when he put that tiny particle in his mouth, he felt full. And similarly, all these Durvasa Muni and his 10,000 disciples, all of them, they felt very full, and they didn't go to the Pandavas again. So the Pandavas were saved. And in this way, Arjuna is remembering all this his good fortune. So as we know, when the Lord is satisfied, everyone is satisfied. And then further, Arjuna remembering how he defeated Lord Shiva. He defeated Lord Shiva once when he was meditating in the forest during their exile. And there, Lord Shiva wanted to test him. So Lord Shiva, he sent a wild boar to attack Arjuna. Arjuna defeated him and defeated the boar. He shot the boar. At the same time, Lord Shiva shot an arrow. And then Lord Shiva appeared in front of him in disguise to argue that he had killed the boar. And then Arjuna said that he had killed it. So in this way, they had a fight. They had a fight, and Arjuna won the fight. And then Lord Shiva showed himself, and Lord Shiva was very, very happy. And then Lord Shiva gave him this Pashupasa astra. This astra, this weapon, it should be used for higher purpose, not for weaker purpose. So here we also see that Arjuna is giving credit again to Lord Krishna. But Lord Krishna, he never takes credit. He always gives credit, he awards credit to his devotees. And in Bhagavad Gita, we know Lord Krishna told Arjuna that he has already sucked the life air of all the warriors on the battlefield. Arjuna just had to shoot them and take credit. But we see that Arjuna was not attached to the favors he received, and he was attached to Lord Shri Krishna himself. A great example here for us also. We should get attached to the Lord, but not to the facilities, material facilities that the Lord provides us. Because when Lord Krishna takes the facilities away, we lament. So here, Arjuna is remembering about all the powers which the Lord has taken away when he left for his abode. So even the demigods, they took help from Arjuna when he visited the heavenly planets, because Arjuna's Gandiva bow was empowered by the grace of Lord Shri Krishna. and there was no limit to it. So Arjuna is powerless now, and he is helplessly thinking about the great Kurukshetra battle, where by the will of the Lord, the power and the strength of the military phalanx made by Duryodhana, by Dronacharya, Duryodhana, Bhishma, Karna, and the 100 brothers of Duryodhana and their powerful associate, all of them were withdrawn. As we know that the Lord can increase or decrease the duration of life of anyone at any time. Thus, he conducted the battle of Kurukshetra according to his own will, because he wanted to establish the righteous King Yudhishthira as emperor of the planet. So Lord Shri Krishna kept his promise to Mother Kunti. 640 million people died in the war of this battle of Kurukshetra. All 100 sons of Dhritarashtra died, but the 5 Pandavas survived. So remembering this, Arjuna is lamenting, saying that it was due to his lack of esteem for his Lord that he dared engage the Lord as his chariot driver. And then text 19 of this chapter reminds us of the favorite famous verses from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, verses 41 and 42. I will request someone to read the translation also. So it goes, Saketi matva prasabham yaduktam, He Krishna, He Yadhava, He Saketi, Ajanata mahimanam tavedam, Maya pramadat pranayena vapi, Yakshavaha sartham asakritosi, Viharasayasana bhojanesu, Ekotavapya chita tat samaksam, Tat samaya tam aham aprameyam. So please, can someone read this translation?
Mataji, can I read, please?
Yes, sure, please go ahead.
Thinking of you as my dear friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadva, O my friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I may have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometime alone and sometime in front of many friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. So Arjuna took Krishna as his friend, not being able to recognize Krishna as a supreme Lord. In this regard, let us see the explanation of Kunti Devi in her prayers to Lord Krishna. What he says here. Kechidahurajam jatam punyas lokasya kirtaye yado priyasyan bhavaye malayasyeva chandanam. Somebody would like to read?
Some say that the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings, and others say that he is born to please King Yadu, one of your dearest devotees. You appear in his family as sandalwood appears in the Malaya hills.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. So Kunti Devi said that many people don't understand Krishna. Some say that he is born in the Yadu dynasty to spread the name of the Yadu's kings and Yudhishthira. She also gives an analogy of the Malaya hill where the sandalwood grows. Kunti Devi says that this Malaya hill has a fragrance and coolness of the chandan, just as a chandan increases the fame and the beauty of the Malaya hill. Krishna also appeared in the Yadu dynasty to increase the Yadus and Yudhishthira's name and fame. Similarly, we see the ignorant tribal ladies who they don't know the value of the sandalwood. What do? They use the sandalwood for cooking. Sandalwood is very expensive, and these tribal people, they get it in abundance, and they kind of waste these precious commodities. And here, we also see that when Lord Krishna was in this on this planet Earth, his parents, Vasudeva and Devaki, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai, treated him as their beloved child. The 16,108 wives of Lord Krishna treated him as their husband. The Vrajavasis loved him as their son. Arjuna saw him as his best friend and well-wisher. Kunti Devi thought of him as her nephew. The Gopis accepted him as their lover. The demoniac kings treated him as their enemy. Duryodhana saw him as a magician, and Shishupal dealt with him as an opponent. Kamsa found him as his death, but nobody realized that he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yet Krishna accepted each and every one and dealt with them accordingly. And as it says here, Bhagavad Gita 4.11, Ye yathamam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham mama vartmanu vartante manushya partha sarvasaha. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respect, O son of Pritha. So he is telling that how he rewards each one as we approach him. So yes, so now we will go to text 20 of this chapter. This is worth discussing because Arjuna is complaining and about being defeated by some infidel cowherd man who took away the wives of the Lord when Arjuna was taking them to Hastinapur after the Lord has left this mortal world. So I was very curious to know what happened to the Lord's wives, as they are not ordinary human beings. So in his purport, Srila Prabhupada stated that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who is one of our great acharya, he did some research. And in Vishnu Purana and Brahma Purana, so in these Puranas, it is stated that these wives of the Lord, they was a fair denizens of heavenly, and they were and they pleased a sage by the name Astavakra, and by the service. So thus the sage blessed them to have the Supreme Lord as a husband. But these denizens, they were daughters of great demigods. Astavakra Muni was curved in 8 joints of his body, and thus he used to move in a peculiar curved manner. But once these denizens, they could not check their laughter upon seeing the movement of the great sage. And the sage got angry and cursed them and told them that they will be kidnapped by rogues, even if they get the Lord as their husband. So the denizens were very scared. So they offered prayers to pacify the sage. And after being satisfied, the sage blessed them that even if they are taken away by rogues, they will regain the husband. So in order to keep the words of the great sage, Lord Krishna himself kidnapped his wives from the protection of Arjuna. Otherwise, they would have vanished as soon as they were touched by rogues, because they were not ordinary people. So as for some of the gopis who prayed to become the wives of the Lord, they returned to their respective position after their desire was fulfilled. After the departure of Lord Krishna, he wanted all his entourage back home, and they were called under different conditions. So the Lord always keep the words of his devotees, and he also wanted Arjuna back to his kingdom. So he took all Arjuna's power away so that Arjuna feel dejected and seek shelter at his lotus feet, which Arjuna eventually did. So here we see Sutta Goswami said, thus being absorbed in thinking of instruction of the Lord, which were imparted in great intimacy of friendship, and in thinking of his lotus feet, Arjuna's mind became pacified and free from all material contamination. So after having answered the question of King Yudhishthira, Arjuna started meditating on the instruction given to him by Lord Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, because he says that those instructions relieve burning hearts in all circumstances of time and space. The Lord's appearance within the heart of Arjuna eliminated all material effects. The feeling of separation from Krishna turned into sources of transcendental bliss for Arjuna. And constant remembrance of the Lord increased his devotion, and Arjuna was freed from all material contamination. As we know, Arjuna was a great Mahabhagavata, so he could control his senses and got immediate relief. And here I would like to quote this verse from Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, text 65. Manmana bhava madbhaktu madhyaji mam namaskuru mami vashyasi satyam te pratijani priyosime. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my dear friend. So he says, always think of me. And so here, if we can take this lesson, if we always think of Krishna, we will surely get to his abode. So as I stated before, Arjuna was a Mahabhagavata and he knew everything, but the Lord used him as a medium to pass on this message to all of us. If we think of Krishna always, we will surely attain his abode. So moving forward, we see that King Yudhishthira knew that the Lord had gone back to his abode and the Yadu dynasty had completed the earthly manifestation. He also decided to go back to Godhead. Similarly, Kunti Devi, after having heard of the disappearance of Lord Krishna, she engaged in full devotional service with full attention, and thus she gained release from the course of material existence. So in text text 34, we see that the rishis who were hearing Srimad Bhagavatam at Naimisharanya, they were not happy to hear about the Yadus dying in madness of intoxication. So Sutta Goswami assured them that it was the plan of the Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna called for some of the confidential demigods to appear in the Yadu dynasty and to take part in his great mission of eradicating the burden of the world. So after the mission was accomplished, was fulfilled, the demigods who appeared as the sons of the Lord, they fought among themselves to relinquish their bodies. It was by Lord Krishna's will. So in this scenario, there are two curses who were involved. So one was after the battle of Kurukshetra, when Lord Krishna went to console Gandhari, she was very angry and she told Lord Krishna if he had desired, that war could have been stopped. But since Lord Krishna allowed the war to take place, she lost all her sons and she cursed Lord Krishna by saying that his sons too would fight among themselves and would kill each other in front of him. So Lord Krishna accepted that curse, thinking that his pastime in this material world was over and that he needed an excuse, some excuses to send his sons back to their original place. So he thought that Gandhari had helped him, and to keep her word, Lord Krishna allowed it to happen. So the second curse was by some sages. The sons of Lord Krishna were very proud of having the Lord as their father, and they disrespected some sages. It happened that some great sages visited Dwarka, the residence of the Lord. Some of his sons played a prank on the sages. They dressed one of their brothers named Samba like a pregnant woman, and taking him to the sages, they asked the sages to predict the gender of the future child. So one of the sages saw through the prank and got very angry, and he cursed Samba, saying that he would give birth to an iron bolt. So, and that iron bolt would destroy his entire clan, entire race. So the following day, Samba gave birth to an iron bolt as predicted, and they were very scared. All the sons of Krishna were very scared. So they ran to their great-grandfather, Ugrasena. And there they related the event. He advised them to crush this iron bolt into fine powder and to throw it into the sea. So which they did, but one small triangular piece they could not crush into powder, and they threw it into the sea. So a fish swallowed that metal piece, and later on a hunter caught that fish and got the metal piece, which he turned into a sharp arrow. The crushed metal powder that was thrown into the sea was brushed ashore and grew into long grass. Some time later, the Yadava, they were at the shore, and they were intoxicated, and they started fighting each other, and not having weapons, they got the grass. They used a tall grass, which were as strong as iron sword to kill each other. And while Lord Krishna was watching what was happening, he saw Lord Balaram meditating under a tree. When he approached Lord Balaram, he saw a snake coming out of Lord Balaram's mouth and entered the sea. Lord Balaram is Sheshnag, on whom the Lord as Mahavishnu lies on the causal ocean. Afterwards, Lord Krishna, he was sitting on a tree with crossed leg. The hunter who had the sharp arrow mistook Lord Krishna's partly visible left foot for a deer, and he shot the arrow. The arrow wounded Lord Krishna. He then departed to his own abode in his same body. Thus, the iron bolt destroyed the entire Yadava clan. It is said that the hunter was Vali, the brother of Sugriva in Ramayana, and as Lord Ram took shelter behind a tree to shoot him, he came back, and as we know, the great sages came as a gopis, and the monkeys who helped to build a bridge also came in Krishna Lila. Here we should not think that the Lord has a body like us. No, he can take any form at our own will. And we know that he incarnates many times. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we come across so many names, but here there are 10 prominent names of the Lord here. And they are, one is the fish, Matsya, and the second is the Kurma, the tortoise, and the third is Varaha, the boar, and then Narasimha Dev, half man, half lion, Vaman Dev, the dwarf incarnation who came to take all the wealth of Bali Maharaj, and then we have Parshuram, the fierce one with an axe in his hand, who annihilated the miscreant Kshatriya kings 21 times with his axe. And then 7th, we have Sri Ram, the righteous king. And 8, we have Krishna and Balaram. 9, we have Bodha, who stopped the slaughtering of animals. And 10th, we have Kalki, who will be coming at the end of Kali Yuga on a white horse with his sword to reestablish the Satyuga again. So when Lord Krishna left this material world, the same day, Kali manifested and exerted its influence only on those who were not well developed in God consciousness. So the Pandavas who are God conscious and are the eternal companions of the Lord, therefore they are more interested in the Lord than anything else. Also, King Yudhishthira wanted to set an example for others that as soon as there are other capable members of family to take care of the house affairs, one should retire from family life to uplift oneself to spiritual realization. King Yudhishthira, he enthroned his grandson, King Parikshit, who was well trained and qualified to become the emperor of the world. And he also posted Vraja, the grandson of Lord Krishna, as king at Mathura. So recently, during my visit to Vrindavan, to Mathura, I visited so many nice temples which were built by Vraja when he was in separation with Krishna, and that's what he could do. He just built temples. So afterwards, King Yudhishthira accepted the renounced order of life, thus preparing himself to attain the highest perfection ever, namely going back home, back to Godhead. He relinquished all his royal garments and ornaments. He only wore a saffron loincloth. He became disinterested in his kingdom and family, and thus he became free from all material designation. Just like Arjuna was fully absorbed at the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna, King Yudhishthira also became absorbed in the Lord. He had full control over his senses, and he distributed his kingdom to Parikshit Maharaj and Vraja. Thus he attained freedom from material relation, which made him free to fully serve the Lord. So even though he was still in this material world, he reached the liberation stage, which is called Jivan Mukti. So he was a very great personality also. So he dressed in rank clothes. He gave up eating solid food. He stopped talking and let his hair loose, which made him look like a madman. He neither cared for nor depended on his younger brothers who had been helping him all along. He became completely independent from everything, which was a purified stage of fearlessness. So we see here, leaving his palace, he followed in the footsteps of his forefathers and of those of great devotees of the Lord. He made his way toward the north. So he devoted himself completely to the thought of the Supreme Lord. Here we can see that he adopted the Varnashrama system, which was strictly followed by the Aryavarta province of the world at that time. So seeing the elder brother leaving home and the other 4 Pandavas, they followed the footsteps of the elder brother, as they also knew the ultimate goal of life, so which is to completely dedicate one's life in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 28, the Lord says, Yesam tantagata papam jananam punya karmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta bhajante mam drida vrataha. Person who have acted piously in previous lives and is this life, and whose sinful action are completely eradicated or freed from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. So the Pandavas, not only in their present life, but in their previous lives had always performed austerities to please the Supreme Lord. Unlike mundane believers who think that the actual goal of life is to have a big house, nice car, big bank balance, beautiful partners, and well-educated progenies, the Pandavas were the most opulent kings, yet they relinquished everything to attain the Lord. So, devotees, we are not against people who have all opulences. If all these opulences are obtained due to their past good karmas and by the mercy of the Lord, then one should always be thankful and be humble and try to help spreading the glories of the Lord by using their wealth, their knowledge, their energy, and their time. And finally, retire from family life to dedicate their life completely to the service of the Lord. That is for their ultimate benefit. So nowadays, as we know, it is not feasible to go to live in the forest, but one can still stay in their own home and get detached from family life and get attached to the lotus feet of the Lord. So by performing sincere devotional service, there is no doubt that one can attain the supreme spiritual planet. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur stated that both Draupadi and Subhadra at once took to concentration upon the lotus feet of the Lord, or Lord Shri Krishna, and they both attained the same result as their great husbands. But just like the Pandavas, they got the 2 wives. They were completely washed of all material contaminations, and they attained the Lord's abode in their very same bodies. So text 49 talks about the famous Vidura, who left his body at a place called Prabhasa. He too was a great devotee of the Lord, but he did not go to the Lord's abode, because the difference between the Pandavas and Vidura is that the Pandavas, they are the constant companion of the Lord, whereas Vidura is one of the administrative demigod in charge of the Pitriloka planet, and he is known as Yamaraj, the Lord of Death. So how did he become the son of a maidservant? Anyone, please? Any answer? Did I put everyone to sleep by my talk?
Mataji, I don't remember the story, but I know he was cursed to be born on earth.
Yes. Okay, very good. So we will see what happens. His story is very interesting. So we know that Vidura played an important role in the Mahabharata. If he was not the son of a maidservant, he would have been the perfect king, but destiny wanted it all the other way. So Vidura, he was the half brother of Dhisraj and Pandu. And he was very skilled, intelligent, and wise. He was the prime minister of the Kuru kingdom, and he was a paternal uncle of both the Pandavas and the Kauravas. Beside Lord Krishna, Vidura was the most respected as an advisor by the Pandavas. He forewarned them on various occasions of Duryodhana's plan to kill them. So as I said, Vidura was Yamraj in his previous life, and he was carrying out his duty accordingly. But when the Lord wants it, even the best personalities go through tribulations. Like the Pandavas, despite being the eternal companion of the Lord, they went through so many calamities. So another great example is King Indradumna, who was a great devotee of the Lord, he relinquished his kingdom and family and went to the forest to meditate. So while he was sitting in meditation under a tree with closed eyes, he was unaware of his surroundings. And then this great Agastya Muni, who was passing by, he thought that, oh, he was being ignored by the king, and so he cursed the king to become an elephant. Eventually, King Indradumya became the famous king of elephant, Gajendra. Gajendra is one of my favorite pastime in the Bhagavatam. So the Lord has his own way of dealing with his devotees when he wants them to participate in his pastimes. Here, let's go back to the stories. So once it happened that some thieves had hidden their booties in the hut of a sage by the name Manduka Muni. And the state police caught the thieves and found the stolen object in the sage hut. Thus, they thought that the sage was part of the gang, and they locked him up too. So the state judge decided that the sage should be punished in a particular way. He should sit on a sharp arrow, which would enter his body through his backside and would come out of his skull. But when the sage was put on the sharp arrow, his body was hanging in the air and did not touch the arrow. So astonished, the judge informed the king, who ordered to release the great sage. The king personally apologized, but the sage wanted to know why he received such a punishment. So he went to see Yamaraj, because it's him who decide what kind of punishment one should undergo. So Yamaraj then told the sage that when he was a child, he pricked the backside of an ant with a blade of grass while playing. And the sage got angry and cursed Yamaraj to become the son of a maidservant, because he said that Yamaraj was dealing like a low-born person. According to the sage, any sinful activity performed by a child should be forgiven, as a child cannot distinguish between good and bad. That's how Yamaraj became Vidura. After his pastime in this material world, he went back to his original post. Sometimes we think that nobody is watching us when we are performing some sinful activities. So a typical example is, we know children love sweets and chocolates, and parents are trying to control their intake of sugary treats. So, but some grandmothers, out of love, will give their grandchildren these treats and will tell them, go and hide somewhere and enjoy it. Don't let anybody see. Yet then what happened? We think that nobody is watching us, but there are so many witnesses around, like the day, the night, the air, the light, the sun, the moon, the wind, the rain, the stars, and also they are all witnessing us. And they have the duty to report to Chitragupt, who is the secretary of Yamaraj. Chitra means a picture, and Gupta means hidden, like hidden picture. Like in French, we will say caméra cachée. In French, that's the word we use. And what does he do? He puts all our activities in individual rails, and when the day of judgment comes, that rail is open, and each individual witnesses their own karma, be it good or bad, and we repent for all the bad deeds we have done. That is where we write our own destiny, because we want to come back. Sorry. So we want to come back to correct the situation, to remediate the situation. We want to give back good things instead of the bad that we have done. So often people ask, why do good people get bad partners or bad family members? It is because in their previous life, the good people were bad and the bad ones were good. So it's like a vicious circle. So we say that what goes round comes back. But here is a beauty of Krishna consciousness. Once we become a devotee, we know how to sincerely forgive. And once we forgive, we break the vicious circle. We don't only elevate our souls, we give a chance to those who have forgiven, to come out of the vicious circle. So we know that really forgiveness is a great thing. So first we should forgive ourselves, and then we should forgive others. So here, to conclude, I would like to I would like to read this purport by Prabhupada, or the last of the last text here. So Srimad Bhagavatam is a narration about the personality of Godhead and the devotees of the Lord, like the Pandavas. The narration of the personality of Godhead and his devotees is absolute in itself. And thus, to hear it with a devotional attitude is to associate with the Lord and constant companions of the Lord. By the process of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, one can attain the highest perfection of life, namely going back home, back to Godhead, without failure. So thank you very much for attending this class, putting up with me. Thank you so much. Now the floor is open to question, comments, realization, criticism, as I love to learn from criticism. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Anyone got any questions at all? If you want to unmute a question. Can I just start off with one question, whilst people are thinking? Within that 10.
Prabhuji, you are like, it's not clear. We can hear you like again.
Right. Okay, sorry. I'm actually in a hotel, so
Okay.
apologies about that. What I was saying is that the 10 prominent incarnations of Krishna, why doesn't Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appear to be one of the prominent incarnations? Because obviously he gave us the Hare Krishna mantra for this yuga.
Yes, it is said that it is a hidden incarnation because, you know, in Kali Yuga, there are so many Babajis every day. God is being like born in all corners of India. If you go, this God, that God, everybody's claimed to be God. So that's why they keep it like a hidden incarnation. That is what I heard about it. But his Harinam is not hidden. Everybody got it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Anyone else got any questions at all? If you want to raise the hand or unmute yourself. Okay.
I have a question, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. You spoke about the 2 types of devotional service. Could you explain the differences between the 2? I didn't quite fully understand it.
2 devotional service. Or when did I?
You talked about it. One of them was Kriya or?
No, it's Vapu Seva and Vani Seva.
Yeah.
Right? So the Vapu Seva is when the person is in front of you, like we got our Guru Maharaj, our devotee friends and all, so we are serving them directly. Vani Seva is we're serving Srila Prabhupada. He's not here, but we are using all his, whatever he left behind, all the scriptures, all the temples and everything, we are using that. We're serving him through that. When we are like propagating the message of Srila Prabhupada, we are doing the Vani Seva, because that is his Vani that he left behind.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
I did have another question, if that's okay, Mataji.
Okay, go ahead, Prabhuji. Go ahead.
You mentioned about the hunter, and that was Vali. I just need some sort of background to that, and also for members of this congregation, if you want to just elaborate on the fact that no one can really kill Krishna because Krishna cannot be killed.
No. You know, because they came as, they took the form of human being. So they have to act as human being. Even Ramachandra, nobody could curse him. Nobody could force him to go to the forest. Nobody forced him actually to go to the forest. He went by his own will because he wanted to associate with these great sages in the forest. He wanted to know life, how to become a king. He didn't want to just sit on the throne and not knowing. He knew what to do, but he was giving the examples, because when the Lord and his entourage comes, they come just to give us. You think Lord Ram had to come to this material world to kill Ravan. Sitting in his abode, just moving his eyebrows, he would have killed so many Ravanas. But he came just to give us examples, right? So what happens is when Vali and Sugriva, they were two brothers. And when we talk about the monkeys, they were not the monkeys that we see in Vrindavan or in Mayapur. They were monkeys who could lift mountains, like we know Hanumanji. But all the monkeys had a similar power, but Hanumanji was a bit more prominent. So what happens is Vali and Sugriva, two brothers, and Vali was a bit more stronger, like, and what did he do? There was a fight going on, and I think Vali was fighting this demon, and he told Sugriva to wait for me at the cave, because that person, that the opponent went in the cave. So Vali went behind him, and after so many days, Vali didn't come back, and Sugriva could see blood coming out of the cave. So what did he do? He took a big boulder, a big rock, and he blocked the mouth of the cave. And he saw that his brother was killed, and that the demon will come out and kill others. So he blocked that entrance. And after so many days, Vali came back, and Vali saw that Sugriva had done it purposely to take his throne, because he was a king. So he took the wife of Sugriva, and he threw him out of the kingdom. So Sugriva went on the hill and stayed there, where Vali couldn't go. Vali was cursed. If he went to that hill, he would die. So he didn't go there. Then Hanumanji met Lord Ram and Lakshman. He took them to Sugriva, where they became friends. And in this way, Lord Ram was looking for Mata Sita, and Sugriva was looking for his wife. So both, they became friends, and they helped each other. Now, Vali and Sugriva, they look alike. They look similar. So the Lord tried, but it was difficult. So the Lord gave a garland to Sugriva and told him to wear the garland. And so the Lord took shelter behind a tree just to shoot Vali. That is what I know, Prabhuji. Ramayana is very beautiful. There's lots of hidden fact that we don't know. But yes, Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you.